fair to
Go ahead,
assume
Rosalind.
that if the Israelis described to the U.S. why they needed to go into Rafah, what they would be doing in Rafah, what the targets would be, would the U.S. be in support of such a mission? And, echoing what my colleagues have already raised, where would people go? Egypt has already indicated it does not want people coming into the Sinai. It does not want a refugee problem in the Sinai. So two parts.
Rosalind, I'm just not going to get ahead of a hypothetical or a process here. I've seen these reports about a military operation into Rafah. As I said in answering Jenny's question, we have not seen evidence of serious planning for such an operation. And to do any kind of such thing right now with no planning and little thought in an area where more than 1 million people are sheltering, an area that is a key conduit for humanitarian aid entering Gaza, a key conduit for the safe departure of foreign nationals, that would be a disaster. It's not something that we would support, and the Secretary made that clear to the Prime Minister. Leon, go ahead.
I was wondering, from this podium, and you've always been very clear that you are not involved in operational
We are
planning.
not. We are
Yeah,
not.
of course.
That
yeah.
is
they
absolutely
didn't,
correct.
They didn't give you a heads up in Gaza. They've never given you a heads up really on the operational planning, and you've always been very clear that you were not obviously not involved and not. And now you're saying you want to see those plans before they do what they do in Rafah?
That's not what I'm saying, Leon. What I am saying is that we have not seen evidence of serious planning around this operation. And of course,
What kind of
when it
evidence
comes
are you waiting
to...
Are you expecting?
We've just spent the past, 15 minutes talking about how there are 1 million people sheltering in this region, how it's a region that is a key conduit for humanitarian aid and the safe departure for foreign nationals. I'm answering yours and your colleagues' questions about what our viewpoint would be on this. And so we've been pretty clear that we've not seen any evidence of any serious planning around this, that we've seen these reports, and we've also reiterated what the Secretary laid out when it came to his concerns, which you saw him address in Tel Aviv as well.
Just a quick on the evidence thing, though. So did the IDF and everyone Blinken met with yesterday say we are not going into Rafah?
I am not going to speak to the specifics of the meetings and engagements that the Secretary's had beyond what we have already wrote out, and he gave a pretty lengthy press conference that your colleagues on the road attended and asked questions.
Yeah, we all
in
watched
which,
the press conference, but we're
he
trying
spoke
to
to
figure
this
out how
pretty
you were
clearly.
saying there is no evidence you have seen if he had an entire briefing yesterday with top Israeli officials. Yes or no, did they tell him we are not going into Rafah?
I'm just not going to get into the specifics of the engagement that he had on the road.
Yeah, Vedant,
Yeah.
Israeli Prime Minister has said yesterday that he directed the army to prepare for an operation in Rafah.
Again, when I'm saying that we've not seen these reports, Michelle, what I'm speaking about is that reports around the serious planning for such an operation. And we believe that planning for such an operation should require some thought into the more than 1 million people who are sheltering in the area. It's also an area that is a key conduit for humanitarian aid and the safe departure of foreign nationals. Conducting an operation without thinking these pieces through is not something we'd support, and the Secretary made that clear to the Prime Minister.
And what's your assessment or the department's assessment for the Secretary's trip? Was he able to achieve the goals that he set before he went?
Michelle, in all of our travels to the region, we go with some broad goals in mind and broad goals that we hope to continue to push forward. One of those, of course, continues to be doing everything we can to ensure that hostages can come home and that the hostages that are being held and continue to be unaccounted for can be released and come home. Additionally, we continue to do everything we can to try and push for additional humanitarian assistance to flow into Gaza. That continues to be something the Secretary raised. You saw him talk about how important we feel that Erez be opened for humanitarian aid to flow into Gaza. And additionally, we'll continue to coordinate appropriately with regional parties on two fronts. First, taking every step we can to ensure that this conflict does not expand, it does not grow and wade into other parts of the region. And additionally, of course, as Saeed was talking about, beginning to lay the groundwork and have conversations about a solution here that gets us out of the endless cycle of violence and closer to a two-state solution, which we believe is integral for peace and stability in the region.
Any progress that been made on any of these points that you already
You saw the Secretary lay out a number of these things in his press conference yesterday, and as it relates to how we are talking to our partners in Israel and other regional interlocutors about humanitarian aid and some of these other issues, and we'll continue to work at them.